Okay. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We are on the LHK conversation, and tonight I have a special guest with me, and I is Dr. Cass. She is a longtime friend, mentor, everything for me. And I just wanted to bring you on because I wanted to have a discussion, the LHK conversation. And first off, I want to say that I am so proud of you and so proud to know you and just to be in the same room as you because I've known you since you started giving out book bags to the kids, mentoring the youth. And it's amazing to be around for that stuff. So I just want to say congratulations to you on your education, everything, a pillar for the community. I'm so excited to know you. You just introduce yourself. You're welcome. Introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everybody. Affectionately known as Miss Cass, and by the grace of God, the accomplishments. I am now Dr. Cassandra Denise Edwards. And as I said, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a grandmother, I'm a sister, auntie. At heart, I'm a grassroots organizer. And most of, I'm a fearing God woman, a woman of God who fears the presence of the Lord. Because without him, none of this would be possible.
Yes.
So I like to always start off with say, to God be the glory. Because if it wasn't for him, I would not be able to accomplish and be who I am today. So that's pretty much who I am. Real simple. Nothing elaborate, right? Just a grassroots organizer trying to make an impact in people's lives.
Yes, you are. So let me just see here who is with us before we get started. I'm just checking the room, the temperature of the room. Just want to make sure. Okay. Great. I have everybody that's coming on so far. Welcome, everybody. So I just wanted to start off, Cass. Can you share your personal experience with your education system and how it relates to the issues of activism and criminal justice system?
So I'll back up and say, to start it off, because when you contacted me, it was in reference to, my dissertation and what all that composed of. So your question is a direct link to the name of my dissertation, which is Activism, Mothering, and Grief Impacted by the Criminal Justice System Known as Education. So if I understand your question is how does I'm going to rephrase it to make that much more sense. How does that impact or my experience in the education system impact where I am today, I guess?
Yes. That's fine.
So for the most part, when you talk about my title of my dissertation, it really stemmed from my lived experience. So the larger portion of my dissertation, is around my lived experience. And my lived experience with being a mother, raising Black sons, and what that looked like. I say through my research that activism is a prescribed role. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is we as Black women are prescribed roles. We go into school systems and we have to save our children from the system. So we automatically become that activist, that organizer, because we have to learn to navigate systems in order to protect our babies. So it was a natural instinct, really, and we all have it as Black women, right?
We do. Yes.
But when we talk about a prescribed role, in my dissertation, I talk about being a motherless mother. We lost our mother at a very young age. And it came to a point in the beginning of my dissertation, I write a letter to my mother. And I have a conversation with her, really outlining my experiences. And really realizing that I learned to be a mother by watching other people, but by failure, glory and failure at the same time, because I didn't have a mother there telling me exactly what to do. So I think activism impacts who we are. I think the criminal justice system, and you'll at the end part of my dissertation says the criminal justice system known as education. So it is my belief, as an expert, based on my research,
Right.
that the educational system is our introduction to the criminal justice system.
Explain that.
Well, it starts off with systems. The educational system, education is a system. There are rules and regulations that if you don't comply, there are consequences. It doesn't start off as the criminal justice system, but as we progress with raising our Black sons, we realize that we become a target for compliance. Compliance meaning if you don't play by the rules,
That's it.
you could lose your child. If you don't play by the rules or know how to play, your child won't get the service that he or she needs. So very often, just think of a good example. In first grade or even start the kindergarten, they say what? Everybody do what? When you first come in to the classroom, what do you have to do before you get in the classroom? What do you have to do?
Oh, we're going back. Introduce yourself.
Definitely not. They never ask us to introduce ourselves. They tell us to line. They tell us to line up.
Oh, right? Yes, you're right.
They tell our children to line up.
In a single line. Yes.
In a single line. Right behind each other's head, right?
Yes, yes.
Just think of the implication of that learned behavior transferring or progressing to as we get older and look at the criminal justice system. Mm-hmm. So we learn different behaviors. And again, this is my scholarship. This is my interpretation as an expert, right?
Right.
Based on what I've learned, to say we have incorporated behaviors and mannerisms that prepare us indirectly for the criminal justice system. We have other people telling us what we can do versus what we can't do. And then when we challenge that system, 9 times in 10, it's the problem.
Right. Absolutely. You're 100% right. I didn't start thinking about that until I started noticing like the way they have everything set up from, like you said, they teach us to line up. We all sit in the cafeteria. The colors of dark and bleak. And in the prison system, it's the same mirroring the same thing from kindergarten. You're sitting in the cafeteria, and the cafeteria is gloomy. I can't even describe how now that I'm older and I open up my eyes and I look at everything that you're talking about, it's the same. They prepare us for how they want us to be. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right about that. And you absolutely are an expert in that when it comes to, you studied this, you are an expert. And I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
And I would say that, many of us are experts. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to school to get a doctorate because I thought I wanted a job. I went to school to pursue my education because the white construct told me that I was not qualified and I didn't have enough knowledge based on my lived experience to make an impact. I would create and develop programs. I would write curriculums for the county, job training programs, reentry programs. And because I didn't have the credentials, right, I wasn't smart enough, or I was smart enough to do the bare minimum. I was smart enough to be able to critique their system, but I didn't have enough credibility because I did not have letters behind my name.
And now that you do, it's awesome that you have that. It's just, like I said, I remember all the things that you did in the past. And I know that you were part of the NAACP, NAACP. Mm-hmm. And you work with people to people. Mm-hmm. And you also, you work for the state of New York for the admin legislation, correct?
I work for who?
You said the state of New York?
Well, I never worked for the state of New York. I've done work in the state of New York on many occasions, but my organization I've had for 25 years, which is advocating for change.
Yeah.
And my last look gig, I worked at Columbia University Teachers College as a community engagement specialist within the Black Education Research Center.
Right.
So, I've had exposures on many different levels, working with top scholars, to us regular folk, which I think we are more valuable, and more of an asset, than
Right.
any scholar. I know, yeah, I said it. I meant it too. I did. I did. I did. I did.
You said it. That's
Yeah.
okay. And your role as a mother, and you
Mhm.
influenced your activism within the educational system. Are there specific incidents where this intersection was particularly significant to you?
I think as a mother, every interaction was significant. Because I was raising Black. I can't say we were,
Right.
my husband of 37 years, raising three Black boys, in a system that constantly had us navigating systems. In particular, Nathaniel, little Nate, that he is affectionately known. As you all know, I lost him. We lost him in 2017 to suicide. And my dissertation is dedicated to him, but it is also a testament to show how, regardless of what we did, I still in the end couldn't save my son.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We navigated. I went through CPS. I went through child support. I went through, order protections. I went through foster care. Right? Me
Right.
and my husband, we weren't addicted to drugs. We weren't drug addicts. We were
Right.
two Black parents raising our sons. I was always in a corporate environment, a corporate job,
Right.
and yet still doing, a lot of activism work. But yet they still saw us and depicted our parenting skills as less than. So I think
Always.
little Nate created the opportunity for me to master the system because we directly went through the system with him.
Okay.
And, we always think, people say, it is. They say, well, God wouldn't put too much on you that you couldn't bear. And while you're going through it, you're like, well, dad, God, can't you
How
figure
much
out
can I
another
take?
way? You know?
How
Um,
much can I take?
yeah. So what I realized that all of those different systems that I went through with little Nate, I learned to master their system. And then after experiencing all of those things, and finally my son getting out of those systems and going away to college, um, what I realized in doing that with little Nate in particular was I taught little Nate how to navigate the system. So what
Right.
my son did was my son was able to use the same skills that he watched me navigate for him to now use against us,
Wow.
because he knew by watching and modeling what his mother did.
Right.
So I think it's a detriment on many different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard pill to swallow, baby. When you have to be so public with being this community activist, right? Here I am, Miss Cass, this community activist, book bag drive, toy drive, Thanksgiving. Like I'm saving everybody
Mentoring.
else, right? And I
Right.
couldn't save my own kid. So it goes back to saying, God, why do you allow us to go through what we go through? And in the end, today I could say he allows us to go through these things so we can be a testimony to others, so that we can be examples. If I did it, you can do it.
Right.
So I think I hope I answered your question.
You did, and I thank you for that, and I thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that bit of your life. And I commend you because we go through a lot of things, and like you said, you are in the public eye, and there's a lot of people that actually look up for you, and then I agree with you with everything that you said, and I just want to say I commend you.
Thank you.
I definitely do, and you are a very strong woman that I know. I can speak personally of you, so I appreciate you being vulnerable with us with that. And you also answered my next question all in one.
Uh-oh.
So you answered my
Okay.
next question all in one. So I'm gonna try to go to a different question,
Okay.
but it was good. I'm glad that you did that because honestly, a lot of people need to know that. We get it gets heavy for us. God puts a lot of stuff on our shoulders, and just sometimes we just keep saying that, like, God, I say that sometimes myself, like, God, how much more can you put on me? I don't know if I could take anymore. And then somewhere deep down inside, we get this extra strength that we comes out of nowhere, and then we got more strength. And then on top
Mhm.
of that, something else happens, and we can think that we don't have any strength or any encouragement. And then there's always somebody there in the corner to say, hey, you can do it. You hear the voice of God telling you, keep going. You're almost there. You're doing exactly, you're in the right path. Sometimes things happen and be out of our control, but you're doing the right thing. And a lot of mothers that I think that you encourage me as a mother myself, you encourage me to keep going. Don't stop.
You don't have a
This
choice.
is
You
what you
can't
want to
stop.
do.
You
Right,
can't. You
right,
stop. And failure is not an option for
right.
being black in these United States. We were
Absolutely.
built. We were built for this. We
Yeah.
were built.
You
We were
were.
built for this. Now, did we ask for it? Definitely not.
No.
Um,
No,
but again,
absolutely not.
it's where we are. It's our positionality of where we are today.
Right, exactly. So for community support, is
Hmm.
what do you think the communities can better support mothers who are navigating these intersections of education and activism and grief? Like if there's mothers going to do the same thing, I went through the same thing or something similar to what you went through, what avenues you can point out to some people that are listening that which way they can go?
I always say a community afraid of itself can't stand, won't stand. I'm a firm believer that I can speak for me, right?
Okay.
My
Right.
ability to be able to sustain and make it to where I am at today is by the grace of God. I understand that I can do nothing without God. With him I can do all things. I think every individual needs to find what that looks like for them because it's different from everyone is at a different place in life.
Right.
I think I have had the benefit of being able to have a strong spiritual life that has
Okay.
been able to sustain me. I think communities, I think our community in particular, because remember, we can't talk about other people's communities until we talk about our own community.
Right.
I think we have to learn how to trust each other. All day I've been pondering, on looking at different religions. I thought of the Hasidim. I thought of the Jehovah Witness. And I said, my God, what are they doing so right? That we as black Christians, black believers are failing. And I did an analogy. They
Okay.
all look alike.
Hmm.
They all talk alike. They
That's true.
all support each other and they go on one voice.
That's
Could you
true.
imagine? And even if we look at the Nation of Islam, that's another
Right.
example.
A very big example.
There's a uniformal culture that connects them. Now, whether they have internal drama or not is neither here nor there. But from the outside, there's a united front on one accord. And I said, my God, could you imagine? And I'll use my bishop as an example. In our church, Greater Anointing, um, we have tags. They're not tags, but we have labels that
Okay.
identifies that ministers wear this, right? So we stand
Mhm.
out when we go to other churches to fellowship. We're in uniform,
Right.
and most people maybe feel that it's cultish or oh God, why does everybody want to look like? And I just started processing his theory behind unity and
Right.
one accord. Could you imagine if we just was in total compliance of following the leadership based on the will of God? how different
It would be.
our places of worship would be.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
if we uniformly connected with each other and bared each other's burdens, how much more would our communities be unified? How much more would there not be hunger?
It'd
How
be
much
unstoppable.
right? So I pondered with that all day today, and I said, I want to be in compliance because we're coming into a time where we're going to need each other.
Absolutely.
We are going to need God like never before.
Yeah.
But it is not until we become totally submitted to a movement of Christ that we're even going to be able to get there. So
Yep.
I just say within myself, Lord, allow me to be in compliance with the will of God, the word of God, so that I know how to move forward with saying the right thing. Now, do we say the right thing all the time? Definitely not. Are our attitudes right all the time? Definitely not. But we pray to say we get better. I
Yes.
could only say, and I don't think I went off too bad,
No,
but I
listen,
just
it's me and you. It's me and you
I
talking.
just
So,
think the community itself needs to stop blaming everybody for our condition and do something about it.
right.
And
That
until we
part.
get to that place, we'll continue to lose the community.
Right. And we
Um,
definitely need stronger leaders. Like, we definitely need stronger leaders. Me, I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't know where they're gonna come from. I just feel like we had Black Wall Street was up and coming and very strong. Like, we really need to go back to the core and rewrite the book.
well, I think we have enough models.
You
You
think so?
have you better believe it, the Black Wall Street. You have the Nation of Islam. You have the Jehovah's Witness. We have models, and I'm using that sarcastically, but seriously,
Mhm. Right.
the Black Church is the strongest organizational structure in this country.
Right.
The power that we have within the Black Church is unmeasurable. I ain't say
Right.
miserable. It's unmeasurable because we have the commitment of folks wanting, and they said we have a form of godliness, but we deny the power. We have to get
Mm.
to a place of being sold out so much that we unify ourselves even when it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Stayed in the classroom, I was uncomfortable because it wasn't
Right.
where I wanted to be. I knew that it wasn't what I wanted to be doing, but
Right.
I knew in order to have access into my community, I needed to gain these credentials so that where there was a time I didn't have access to now you can't deny me access.
Absolutely. That's powerful. Absolutely. Whatever they act like, they anybody they do stop us. Like you said, you have to get the credentials. That's what we all should do. Some of us are not more. Some of us are more motivated than others. But even if you have the dream, you have the passion, you should still go forward with it. I think that when it comes to the churches, I don't know, and the different organizations, I think everyone's pulling one way. One organization is pulling one way, and the other organization is pulling one way, and that they definitely need to be unified. And like you said, it would definitely be powerful if we can all unify, because we would be so, like you said, so unstoppable that they would have no choice but to comply and notice who we are. It's like, I don't want us to keep fighting, but we have to keep fighting.
Well,
We have to keep,
I
and I don't
agree.
mean like physically.
No,
I'm
no,
just
I
saying.
got you. I think, I go back to the spiritual realm,
Mhm.
and I study the Bible and I'm learning to get better. In fact, I just went on a tour to Drew University because I got accepted to get in their Masters of Divinity program. And the
Okay,
reason why,
congratulations.
thanks, and the reason why I'm going that route, because I want to know the biblical foundation of ministry.
Okay.
Right? We get the church, we get the bishop, we get it from the pulpit, but how do we effectively understand the word of God for what it is saying verbatimly versus a false interpretation?
Right.
So if we as black folk, and I can't talk about white people because I ain't white.
Right. You know
right?
exactly.
And just I tell people for the
We can
record,
speculate.
I love everybody, but I
Yes.
have no interest in psychoanalyzing the plight of white people because I'm still trying to figure out black folk.
Right.
So if we as black folk would get out of our own way, again, a community afraid of itself can't stand, then we can mobilize the egos, right? And the who knows
There's
what.
too many.
I have my favorite saying. I know what I'm good at. I know what I've been gifted to do. I stay within my lane. I'll use my sister as an example. My sister's an attorney. She went to school for law.
Right.
She knows it hand over fist. I didn't go to school to be a lawyer, right? So I can't be the expert in law. I can be
Right.
the expert in community organizing, community mobilizing, community development. That is my niche. Stay in your lane and operate in the gift that God has bestowed upon you, and then allow those gifts to come together and lock, if that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. Like what I like is, for example, if we do the community, I do digital. Latanya does law. You are a doctor. You have other people, like for example, you have Frazier, who does so many things and he knows so much when it comes to the community and when it comes to legislation or the Democrats, Republican, all the politics. He knows a lot of stuff about the politics, and he knows the politics of the community. Like all of us can come together. Or you have somebody on the other side that's know everything about financial freedom, that can give us financial freedom and give us the education that we need to have so that we can be financial free from certain debts that we are in, that we can
Mhm.
go ahead and purchase homes, or we could purchase a business and expand the business, and we'll know it from A to Z, where no one's going to be able to take advantage of us. So I definitely agree with you on that one. We just have to come together and unify, and that's a very big obstacle, I feel like, in this day and time, and it's always been this obstacle between our community.
Yeah. So when
And I
is it?
think that needs
It's
to
in
be
other
figured out.
communities too. It's in other
Yeah,
communities too. The
but I think
problem,
that we're the worst at it.
well, I wouldn't say that. I never put us at the bottom of the totem path. I think we got issues, right? But
Right.
I think collectively, COVID was a great prime example of unification within the community because people had no choice.
Right.
The unfortunate thing is, do we have to go to tragedy in order to make us get to that place? So COVID was the model of what it is we need to be doing now. Because again, there's something that's coming that's worse than COVID.
Absolutely. I've been hearing the same thing.
So, I take heed when, the man of God speaks, because again, we can't take for granted that we are living in the last and evil days. The revelation of the Bible is here.
Hmm.
We need to be able to proactively say, what am I going to do to get in alignment?
Right.
That's scholarship right there.
Right. Okay. And all right. So I also, what strategies or approaches have you found to be most effective in advocating for change within the education system?
It's funny you say advocating for change, which is the name of my organization, advocating for change. I think what I do all the time is I would love, and what I have created is different trainings on teaching people how to advocate.
Okay.
My sister tells me all the time I need to put together a manual, and I'm working on it. But I think what's most important is we assume that everybody knows how to advocate, and you'll find most people don't. So, what is the skill of advocating that's going to allow you to address the issues that play your home, your community, your work environment?
Right.
And then, how do you proactively take those different situations and make it work for your good? So, what is the art of networking, right? What is the art of communication? What is the art of negotiating?
Right.
So there's different aspects of the simplicity of words to break it down, wherein we can come back and say, when I see a plan, all I know I need to do is follow it. And the other thing is, our gifts don't belong to us. It
Hmm.
is our given responsibility to share.
Right.
Now, by default, over the years, I've shared and helped develop people's not for profit. I've developed programs that people took and used. I am the originator. I don't care what nobody say, of book bag drives in Rockland County.
You are. You are. You are.
And now everybody and their mama's doing book bag drives. Now think about that. If it was about Miss Cass, I'd be like, well, I started it, and why everybody? No, I'm
Right.
honored that multiple people are doing what it is I created. Now, I will say with arrogance, they could never do it the way I did it because it wasn't their initial vision. But that
Right.
doesn't mean they're not effective at what it is they're doing. So, where we have to get to a place with our organizing is be complimentary when you see someone duplicating what it is you've done and say, as I do all the time, that's me. Ooh,
Yeah.
hey,
I
right?
see it.
So it goes back to our responsibility is not to plant the seed, water the seed, watch it grow, replant it. Our job is just to plant seeds. And in order to be effective at doing it, the most important piece is knowing who you are, whose
Right.
child you are.
Right.
Biologically, I am the daughter to Glenn and Dorothy Baptist.
Right.
Spiritually, I am my father's daughter with a covering of Bishop Richard J. Stockton, right? Because we need a spiritual covering. And again, if we could get to the place of getting leaders not to fight amongst themselves, whose church is more effective and whose church is doing that, if we could just get the black churches, and I'm gonna just say black for now, in Spring Valley alone, and
Right.
that encompasses the Haitian church and the African American church.
Right.
And again, the Latino church at some point, too, but we got to start somewhere.
Got to start
Could you
somewhere.
imagine if we got churches to do an annual conference for the churches of Spring Valley
That would be
or
big.
Rockland County, black churches in Rockland County, and
That
do
would
a
be big.
national movement of having a memo out, of this is our focus. This is the
Right.
areas of what we could
We
shut
need to focus
politicians
on.
down. We can
Yeah.
shut Rockland County down.
We
Now,
could.
most people might
Guess
be,
what? We could probably save Spring Valley if they all came together.
well, there's just so much more work to do, but I don't think it's impossible. I hope
Yeah.
I'm answering your questions.
You are answering my questions, and I'm giving you free form because Dr. Cass, I wanted you to come on my show. And I wanted you to be able to talk to the people and them be to pick your brain a little bit. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit and get some education teaching us the things that you've been through, the thing where you had to go, what you had to see, what tables you had to sit at, and gather that information so that you can share with the rest of us who might be ignorant to the facts of everything that's going on in this world or any subject that we may know because you have studied these things.
Well,
So I just want
yeah,
to,
let me
I know you
stop
don't
you.
know everything, but
No, yeah,
you do
but
know a
I
lot.
do want to say the academy, which is higher ed,
Hmm.
is not the know all and into all.
Right,
I believe we are all doctors. I believe we are all gifted. I believe we are all experts in our own given fields.
right,
What we have to be confident in knowing is to what level do we want to impact change,
right,
right? So I was affected for years, starting off running around screaming. I never cussed, right? Starting
right.
back in Nyack at the Nyack School District when they were expelling kids. When I was the general manager at McDonald's, all I knew to do was go off on people.
Right.
because that's what I knew. They knew when I was walking in the door that I was going to scream on somebody. And they were right, because I
Right.
was. But if I reflect back, it's all I knew. So I operated with how I knew to operate. And
Right.
then progressively, as we grow, we learn different strategies of communication. Now I'm still the beast. I'll
Right.
still go off, but it's a different off now,
Yeah, it's a different
right?
difference. Right.
So it's,
Definitely.
we want to get people to hear what we're saying,
Yeah.
right? And, we could do all the rallies we want, hoop and holler. But if you don't have a strategic plan to back up your rally, your board meetings,
Right.
it means nothing. In
Nothing.
East Ramapo, I said this 20 years ago. I said to the Latin community, and it's on NPR, it was made public, my statement. It's not my kids you got to worry about. It's going to be your kids. And today is a testament that
Yes.
it's not
It's
little
true.
black boys and girls going through the struggles. They are impacted, but the Latinx community is being mutilated in this
Unfortunately.
system.
There they are.
So again, I tell anybody, it's on the shoulders of black folks that people do organizing. Black
Yeah,
folks have modeled what it is to be activists and organizers. And
that's
it
true.
is not until when we understand racism, we understand that people come in this country looking down on us because of what a white construct has taught them. They come into this country thinking we are less than. They come in this country thinking that we don't know that we are a threat.
That's correct.
The problem with all of that is we play into it.
This is true.
So
This is very true.
when do we
But we
get to
need
a
to,
place? Go ahead. When do
that's what I was
we
just about to say. Where do we get to a place?
we have to get
That
to
we
a
change it.
place of understanding the construct and dismantling. You can only do that through organizing. And the church would
That's
say you can only do that through prayer, fasting, and praying, which is true. But the Bible also says faith without works is dead. You got to do the work. And
got to do
most
the work.
people are not willing to do the work. I don't want you to tell me about the Bible if I'm hungry. I want
Right.
you to feed me.
Right. Right.
You
That's
can't
true.
tell me about a dealing with the death of a child if you've never lost a child.
Right.
You can't tell me. You can't tell me about struggling and trying to figure out a marriage 37 years later and trying to hold it together if you ain't never been through a marriage or
Right.
tried to stay and fight for your marriage.
Right. Which
There's
is
so many
hard.
different elements. And
Right.
yet, to be an example to young women like you to say, because you've been married, but to
Yes.
say to young women, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can. It's through trial and tribulations, but put God first. Everything else
Yes.
will fall in place. But you can do it. And what does that look like? I could sit at the table and talk to young women, right?
Absolutely.
I
But
can't
we
tell
have
you
to
what it
we
is.
we
I
have to
can't
go
tell you.
through it.
Yeah, I can't tell you what it is to be a single woman. Never been one,
Right.
right? So I that's not my story to tell. But I can tell you what it is to have the determination to do whatever it takes. Now, do we do it right? No, I was not a perfect wife. I'm not a perfect wife. I am not a perfect mother. I'm learning to be a perfect grandma, Nana, right? Because we all get the
Grandmas
opportunity.
always think they're perfect. They are not
I
perfect.
said, no, I said trying, right? Because, everything you did wrong with your kids, you can try to fix it
Yeah,
with the
you try to do.
grands.
Yeah, right.
But I say that to say every day I'm learning to get better.
Right.
Again, today through my fasting and praying, I said, God, I want to lose more of me and be more of him. And what does that look like? What does it sound like? What does it
Right.
feel like? So I'm a work in progress. And at 57 years old, I can only continue to be true to myself, my family, my community, and do the best I can.
That's all we can do. And that's all we can ask. And then, okay, so you know what? You've answered a lot of my questions.
Oh
You know
dear.
what? You just you made the job easy, but then you made my job harder.
Why?
Because I want to ask you so many things, but you're
You
just like
can.
you like the total package when it comes to you answer all of my questions that I
Well,
have.
that's why I told you, and just say for the record, she sent me all these questions. I said, well, I don't want to look at all this. I said,
Yeah,
let's
you
just
didn't
have
look
a,
at them.
no, I said, let's have a conversation. You know why?
Right.
Because I think being authentic is so important.
So much, yeah.
Yeah, I think people need to see the realness, and they don't need to hear a rehearsed speech.
Right.
People need to know that you're human. I cry, I hurt, I struggle. I say to God, make me better every day. And I don't do it right. I was talking to my beloved sister just before I got on, and she told me that I hurt somebody's feelings 20 years ago. And she said, well, you need to ask him for your apology. Isn't that what God would do? And I'm like, that was 20 years.
Which sister would this be?
Oh yeah, yeah. My sister Latanya. And I said to her, I said, I had that conversation with that sister 20 years ago. She understood what she did was inappropriate. So I fixed it. And her point was, regardless if you did that, Cass, you need to ask her to forgive you. So, as much as I didn't want to hear from her, I'm like, she was like, and she kept saying it, she just said stuff till you be like, shut up. Um,
Yeah.
so long story short, it's things like that
Right.
that we have to allow our flesh to die so that we can become the better you, better me.
Yeah. The better you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
I just say, authenticity of keeping it real. I used to run a program in the schools many years ago called Keep It Real.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get they gave me the worst of students. And I said to them, well, let's have people come into the school and talk to the young people, professionals. And I would get everybody and their mother to come in, and really be able to say get professionals to be able to say, you know what, I used to do whatever. I used to, run in a club, I used to have multiple men, whatever the case may be. But this is who I am today. And if I can do it, you can do it. If I went to get a doctorate degree, you can get it too if that's what you choose to. And if you don't and you want to learn a skill, go learn a skill. I started at McDonald's at 14. People laughed at me back then. When I went to Hamburger University, people laughed at me. But I developed communication skills, negotiating skills. I learned how to balance a budget. I understood what profit and loss meant. But I also understood that I was making other people a whole lot of money and them using my skills.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So while
Right.
I was doing all of that, I learned valuable skills, but they're transferable skills that I can now
Use for
use.
the future,
So
which is now the
again,
present.
right. So everything is not so blah, like I'm doing all of this and what I'm doing. No, you stay where you at until you get what you need. And then you
Exactly.
move. But
And then
before
you
you
move. Right.
move, make sure you got a plan. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
stupid. Don't
Get
be
your plan.
stupid.
Don't jump off the bridge. Don't jump off the bridge
So
to
I
something
think,
that to the unknown and you don't know.
yeah, I'm proud of you. I mean, I think, the motion that you're taking and the space that you're filling, occupying, I think is awesome. I mean,
Thank you.
I watched a couple of, little pieces and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Um,
I know I had something. I had a couple things up
I,
there.
I think, I think as long as you continue to build on your vision and surround yourself with people that compliment you, not take away from you, because this is your vision.
Right.
And the Bible says, write your vision and make it plain.
Right.
That's a business plan. See, we
That's a
never
business
think
plan.
of the spiritual to the natural. Well, God, you said write your plan, write your vision, make a plan. That's a business plan, God.
Right. Because I was when I first, to be honest, to be transparent, I was like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I said because if I commit to it, and then I was like, well, I wonder if people even come on my show. All these questions I was coming in my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I just need to go ahead and do it. If this is what I want to do, I know how to do. I can, I'm producing. I am the executive producer. I am the
Hey.
co-host. I do the digital stuff. I do all the digital work. And I said, am I going to be able to handle all of this? And at first, my first couple of 2 episodes, I got a little discouraged. And I'm transparent when I say these things. But then I was like, you know what, Taika? You are, lack of better word, the snizzit. You know what you're doing.
That's right.
You learn something so quickly, and then you go deeper and deeper
It's
and
called a
deeper into it.
gift. It's a gift.
Yes, thank you. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I know when I first did my first video, before I even thought about having a podcast, I did my first video when I was doing the candles and the cups and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I go back and I look where I was
Mm-hmm.
started and to where I am now. I looked at the very first video and I was like, oh, why would I do that? I was like, oh, this is terrible. I want to do this over. But now I'm like, you know what? This time next year, I will be
That's
even
right.
further than what I was before. And I'm going to look back and be like, oh, I could have did this, that, and the
That's
third.
right.
And I'm so excited that,
You should
that
be.
this gift was given to me.
You should be.
And I
I
don't
did.
mind sharing with my
Yeah,
gift
I
with
did
everybody else.
TV about 20 years ago. I had a public access show, and I
Uh-huh.
used to put my camcorder, because it was a camcorder. Don't judge me. Don't
Yeah, I
judge me.
remember.
I used to put it in my living room and sit on my couch. And I used to invite Mr. Butler, and we used to have community conversations. And I used to walk my little tape over to Cablevision, and they would take it and they'd play it on Cablevision. And it was
You're going
before,
back.
yeah, before this was this. In fact, I was in storage and I looked at all those DVDs because they're on DVDs.
Right.
But again, don't take for granted the gifts that you have, but don't forget to thank who gave you the gifts.
You're
So don't
absolutely
get
right.
so comfortable within yourself that you think that it's just you.
Right.
Because now you become responsible for souls. You're influencing and impacting people's lives. And that means there's a responsibility to that.
Yes.
So
There's a big responsibility.
being conscious of what that looks like, what it sounds like. And I'll tell everybody, if you're not in a fellowship, you need to get into one because you need some spiritual grounding, and whatever that looks like for you.
To the individual.
Yeah, I mean, I tell, but you got to get somewhere.
Sure.
Because things are not just going to be the way they are.
Yeah, it's a
And
different
if you
world.
don't have a spiritual grounding, you're going to be lost.
Yeah, definitely. So for our last couple of minutes, I
Okay.
am going to put in our chat, I'm going to put the link. So if anybody want to come on and ask you any questions,
Oh Lord.
I do keep in mind. I did tell Dr. Cass if there's questions that she does not want to answer, she will not answer them. That is the tone for the show and always will be. I'm going to put the chat in. Also, some of the comments on here. Fraser's
Okay.
been on here. He's funny.
Hey Deke.
Okay, so Monica's on here. We
Hey
have
Monica.
Fraser. Everybody's saying hey to you. Let's see who else.
Those are your regular folks.
Those are my regulars. Eric Ofsa Esu. I don't know who is Eric. Said good evening. Monica said good evening, Dr. Edwards. Latanya said good evening, Dr. Edwards. Fraser's been actively, and he said business is my niche. I learned my politics from my parents and business. COVID brought us together at the same time, unfortunately. And yes, we need the cliff notes when you said you were going to write the manual. And what else? That was your authentic self growth. Let me see what else. That was just fear we all been through, James said. So thank you everybody for coming on and putting those comments in. The chat is in the comments on Facebook. So if you want to come on to the Zoom and ask Dr. Cass questions, you absolutely can. Hello. Hi. We have somebody here. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Latanya. How you
Hello,
doing?
how are you?
How's everything?
Oh,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
how come I don't see
Have you
Chris
watched the
anymore?
show? Have you
I
watched the show?
did. I watched
You
all
heard
of it.
everything?
It was awesome.
Oh, thank you. You heard everything?
Oh, there she is. Yes, I heard you guys bad mouthing me, but I forgive you. It is the thing to do. Forgiveness, yes.
We love you. Listen, I'm the little sister out of everybody, so be nice.
Right. You're the one who gets beat up. Yes.
I
Um,
don't have to beat anybody up today. The little sister's feisty.
yes. So,
So, do you have any
Dr.
questions for Dr.
Dr.
Edward?
Cass, very, very awesome. So, can you tell us what you think is one thing that those who are listening, those who are learning at your feet right now, if there's one thing that you could suggest for the Black community to begin to build, what would it be?
Find a common goal.
What do you mean by that?
Here she go. You have too many people with their own agendas. Come up with one common goal of what you want to accomplish, something that is realistic, measurable, and can give you an outcome.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Does anybody else that's watching Facebook have any questions? So this is an open time where you can ask questions. I know everybody's watching. If you have any questions, the floor is open. So I did have one other question.
Sure.
Let me see. I'm trying to look. Give me 1 second. For your vision for the future, what would you like to see happen when it comes to the future of either the country or the Black people or the community or even the small community that we are in right now? What would you like to see happen and for us to build and be successful as a people?
I think that goes back to what Tanya just asked me. Having a common goal,
Right.
right? Realistic, measurable, so that you can obtain an outcome. I think also, the spiritual component of people aligning themselves up spiritually.
Mm.
As much as we may say the Black church becomes cultish, that's cultish. They all look alike, sound like. But when we look at other religions and denominations, they're doing it. And they're protecting and taking care of their own. They're
They are.
building within themselves and yet still utilizing everything else that we have.
Right.
So I think, we need to become strategic and intentional about our spiritual journey and really, keep it real. There's no more time for playing church. There's no more time playing with God. I don't know how often and how much I can stress the importance of a relationship with God. I think, and I go back to use Bishop, he was using an example of, Christians are the only folks, and folks may be uncomfortable, but so be it, who cares? But, the Christians are the only people that can go anywhere and sit and just commingle and be okay. Where when you look at I use the um, Jehovah Witness, you see them always out in threes. You don't see them co-collaborating. In fact, I think I was told that even when they are amongst family, if you're not a part of their network, they don't commingle with you.
Wow. I
So
didn't know that.
we think that, wow, that's cultish. But could you imagine how much more we could be an example if we intentionally put the focus on God first and let everything else
Fall into place.
fall in place? I think there's it has to be a yearning and a thirst for righteousness, for God's sake. Because again, you can have the gifts, but gifts come without repentance.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
God doesn't take things from us.
He
He
gives.
perfects them when we
Absolutely.
allow him to, but we have to be intentional about growing spiritually. And that's my new language, man. I can't there's certain things I'm not gonna do, certain places I'm not gonna go, um certain things I'm not gonna have around me, because
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I have the purity of Christ, not just in me, but around me and through me. And
Oh,
that may, be different for different people, but that's just my positionality where I am. And I
right.
think I could say that at 57 years old, I don't owe anybody other than God anything.
Right. Absolutely. And I think also as well, when you get to, even in the spiritual, when you talk about spirituality, also, even when you get to a certain level, there's certain things that we shouldn't be in the mix of anyway.
Better believe it.
We definitely should, when you're growing, and that's why I put up the post either yesterday or the day before yesterday, that when you're growing, it can become a lonely place.
Yeah. And it
Because
should be lonely.
yeah,
It should
yeah,
be.
yeah.
It
But
should be.
with growth, you gotta, sometimes you gotta be alone in that, in order for you to hear clearly and think what you need to do, and your thoughts to be processed correctly. You're gonna be by yourself.
And everybody
So
doesn't, everybody wants to be the expert in everything. If I can give one word of advice to folks, operate with what you know. Trying to do everything.
right.
Because in doing that, you're ineffective.
Absolutely.
Master your one skill
Absolutely.
and then link with someone who has the other. Because you don't lose. We don't lose by being a blessing to someone else, by sharing with someone else.
No, you don't. Because
We
you can
lose by,
absolutely help.
yeah, we lose by keeping it to ourselves.
Absolutely. Great. And folks, before we get ready to go, because we got
Sure.
2 minutes, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. Learning and listening to you talk, and also advocating for people that you've done so much throughout, ever since I met you, ever since you became my big sister. And I know you before Latanya.
that. that.
You look cute today. Latanya, you look beautiful today. Did I tell you that?
Mm-mm.
Flattery will get me nowhere.
Nowhere.
Well, I
So
thank you for
Fraser,
having me. Oh, Fraser said
yes,
something.
I have one
What's
more
up,
comment,
Fraser?
and then ladies will be off. Fraser said, I think people put too much attention on themselves than God and people. I feel that is the problem. That's what he wrote. Thank you, Fraser.
Well, I
I appreciate
appreciate
that.
you having me. I appreciate being able to
Yes.
just share and have a conversation. And I hope, folks got something out of it. I know I did. I always enjoy learning when
Yeah.
sharing.
No one's gonna get mad.
What happened?
So I said no one's gonna get mad about you sharing what you're sharing. This is my show. This is the LHK conversation. This is what it's about. So, anyways, ladies, thank you so
I
much.
wonder
Thank
if
you.
there could be a forum. I'm sorry, I know you're ending, but a forum where Dr. Edwards, where you could come and present a more in-depth discussion about your dissertation. I think the scholarship is so vital for our community, especially with our kids. I think it's so necessary. But that's just a suggestion.
Sure, put it together.
Nope, we don't put me to work.
Listen, I am more than
Why can't we
willing
get
to.
you work? Can we hire you?
You definitely can.
Can we hire you?
Who, Tanya or me?
Latanya, Latanya, can we hire you to
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 put
do
do
it
what?
what?
together?
To do
To put it
what?
together. You made the suggestion.
Absolutely. Yes, you can hire me to put it together. Yes. I
That means
charge
you're gonna pay me.
four
Look,
seventy five an hour for a minimum of 20 hours for putting
Well,
this
I'm just
together.
starting out. So, with that being said, this has been the LHK conversation.
Maybe it's something we could all sit down and do, but yes, I would be willing.
Huh?
Maybe it's something we can all sit down and organize.
Everybody froze.
No.
You
froze. We said at the same time.
We're not froze. You're froze.
You're froze.
Oh, I am? I'm frozen?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay. Because I had to pause for a second, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. The phrase is laughing too. We have to retain you. All right. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Dr. Cassandra Edwards, I appreciate you for coming on. Mr. Tanya, thank you for coming on. This show to ask questions. Everybody who joined the chat, thank you as well. And this is the LHK Conversation. Guys, I'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Thank you for what you do, Taika.